Chris Cuomo here. Welcome to NewsNation. If you don't like the mustache, give to Movember to raise some money to help with research and treatment for men's health. Okay? And if you do like the mustache, what's wrong with you? But also, give to Movember, please. NewsNation is where right and left come to try to be reasonable. And tonight we're going to discuss some mysteries. Top, why the president won't get this Epstein elephant off his back by calling for the release of the files. Why didn't Democrats pursue this desperate need for clarity on Epstein during the Biden administration when they had control? Why don't they get that being reasonable and playing to moderates is a better strategy than being radical when it comes to affordability, which is the signature issue going into these midterm elections? And why can't social media stay focused on affordability? Why does it get distracted by things like Epstein so easily? Now, one mystery I can clear up right now. Why did Senator Rand Paul from Kentucky bring up hemp, of all things, at such a crucial moment when the end of the shutdown was there? You know what the answer is? Because this guy was trying to stop an injustice. This had nothing to do with shutdown politics. It had everything to do with him trying to shut down a dirty move by his fellow Kentucky senator, rewarding greed, rewarding special interests in our politics over the interests and wellness of millions of Americans. Senator Mitch McConnell sneaked in a measure that just effectively banned THC and CBD products. Weird target? Yeah. Random? Nope. He did this to please his bourbon-pushing buddies in Kentucky. As one of his final acts, the senior senator chose to help push poison at the expense of medicine. One medical study found 1 in 5 of us use hemp-derived THC or CBD gummies or tinctures or cream every year. That is why hemp is trending on social media despite all the Epstein noise. This isn't simply about getting high. This is no more about going after hippies and counterculture. But even if it were, where do politicians get off judging that kind of personal behavior, period, let alone removing hemp for the benefit of alcohol? Alcohol is responsible for more death and destruction than just about any other substance. Excessive drinking kills 178,000 Americans every year. Alcohol poisoning kills over 2,000 Americans a year. Guess how many Americans die from CBD or THC poisoning each year? 0. Oh, but this was way past due. Hemp has been getting away with it when marijuana is regulated. Getting away with what? Safe pain relief and relaxation? Tens of millions of Americans turn to hemp-derived CBD and sometimes THC to help with pain, sleep, stress, anxiety. I guarantee you, if you don't, you know someone who does. A lot of people recovering from injuries, physical or psychological, use these products instead of other much more heavy-duty pharmaceuticals. That's a bad thing. And for many, including me, they have become a much safer alternative to drinking alcohol. And that little bit is why Mitch McConnell just tried to submarine the industry. Ironically, it was McConnell who first legalized the hemp industry in his 2018 Farm Bill. Ironic, huh? So what changed? Money. Bourbon is huge in Kentucky. It employs over 20,000 people in the state. And the industry is struggling. Liquor sales are down 3% this year. Why? Tariffs and the fact that Americans say they drink less, especially since safe substances like hemp came about. The counter is, oh, no. This isn't about corporate greed. It's about kids who are getting hemp products because they're unregulated, unlike marijuana and alcohol. Even if this were true, regulate young people using it. You don't just ban an entire industry. It's a $28 billion industry. It employs over 300,000 Americans all over the state, all over the country. It pays $13 billion in wages, $1.5 billion in taxes, and you're just going to wipe it out for your buddies in Kentucky? And by the way, if you're worried about kids getting access to it, did we ban alcohol? Kids get access to that too in high school, right? When's the last time you heard about a DUI that was caused by hemp? When's the last time you heard about hemp addiction? If you really want to make this about kids, there has been a huge drop in drinking by high school seniors after hemp was legalized. So what are you saying? We're taking this away. Go back to booze. This is wrong on two levels. It's politics at its worst. Shame on Senator McConnell. And bravo to Senator Rand Paul. Not only they're from the same state, they're in the same party. They're both Republicans. For him to go against him this way, especially in that moment, was brave. And I wish he had had a better opportunity for people to understand this. Because it's bad policy. Helping people sell poison like bourbon by functionally removing hemp, by reducing potency to a useless level, you take away what is a medicine for most and harmless in the main. And that is terrible. Now, part of the reason you didn't really hear about this, and it's just trending now and not more in the heat of the shutdown, is that McConnell hit it and our attention was distracted by Epstein. And I'm telling you, I know exactly what's going on with hemp. I got no clue what's going on with the release of the Epstein files when it comes to the president and this administration. I don't get the resistance. I really don't. And you can say, what do you mean? He's got something to hide. No one has ever told me that, who has any access to any of these things, no matter who they represent. Okay? Now, the response from the president today, instead of release the files, which is all he should say, release the Epstein files, is I've directed the Attorney General to go after Democrats who he believes are tied to the Epstein scandal. First of all, just before the show, he made his first comments about this. Listen.
I know nothing about that. They would have announced that a long time ago. It's really, what did he mean when he spent all the time with Bill Clinton, with the president of Harvard, who you know who that is, Summers, Larry Summers, whatever his name is, and all of the other people that he spent time with. Jeffrey Epstein and I had a very bad relationship for many years, but he also saw strength because I was president. So he dictated a couple of memos to himself. Give me a break. You're going to find out what did he know with respect to Bill Clinton, with respect to the head of Harvard, with respect to all of those people that he knew, including J.P. Morgan Chase.
Look, if the president has these suspicions, you know what he should do? Release the files. Okay? That's the only answer here. What is going on? I don't get it. Now, that's why I have better minds. And I don't know anyone to talk to who is better than my guest, Epstein's former attorney, Alan Dershowitz. He has been caught up in this scandal as counsel and as an accused for years. And he had the rare ability to disprove an allegation. You know how hard that is? To prove that you didn't do something? That's why the burden of proof works the other way, right? And he has also seen what so many are dying to see. He joins us now. Professor, I said to somebody today, and I don't know if this will make you punch me the next time you see me. I said, you know, if there were one guy who would love to give people on the left what they're looking for in this situation, it's Dershowitz, because he's been completely blackballed by them. He would love to get them back, inviting him to things on Martha's Vineyard. But Professor, look, I gave you a chance when the allegations come out because of my trust in you, and you had the documents that made not only the lawsuit against you go away, but the accusations as well from anybody who wants to pay attention to the facts. But you've been telling me from the beginning, Chris, don't get caught up in the hoopla about this stuff. It's not what people think. Why?
Well, let me give you an example. 10 minutes before you went on, the predecessor on your show described Jeffrey Epstein as a convicted pedophile. He pleaded guilty to one count of having sex for money with a 17-year and 10-month-old person. That's not pedophile. But because the media says so many things about people. Another example, Epstein says in his email that Trump spent hours with Virginia Giuffre. The media doesn't report that Virginia Giuffre herself, when she was alive, said she never met Trump. She never spent any time with him. So I understand. I don't agree, but I understand the Trump administration's concern because anything in these files is deliberately misinterpreted by the media. On CNN just before, about an hour ago, some congresswoman was finding everybody guilty. Anybody who had any connection with Trump must be guilty. Look, I'm here standing up. Look, I certainly support real victims, but I'm standing up because I was one of them for falsely accused people. They have due process too. They have to have the right to answer. One of the problems is when they release these files, and I hope they release them all, they generally release the names of the people accused, but they don't release the name of the accusers because they say they're victims and they're survivors. Some of them are, some of them aren't. Some of them are mixed. I know of cases where people were victims and then they victimized other people. They falsely accused them or they arranged for them to meet with Jeffrey Epstein. This is a gray area that the media presents as a black and white area with a devil and anybody who had anything to do with him as devilish as the person himself. We have given up the presumption of innocence. You know, I wrote a book called Guilt by Accusation. That's what we're going through. And I understand why people don't want to see things released which will mention their names, and then the media will immediately say, guilty, 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 without even giving them an opportunity to fight back. I fought back because I had nothing to hide. Many people do have things to hide, and they can't fight back. And that's why it's easy to make false accusations against people. I don't know whether it's false or true against Prince Andrew, but he couldn't fight back because he was Randy Andy. He couldn't sit for a deposition and answer questions about his sex life. I could. It was easy for me because I had no sex life other than with my wife from the relevant period of time. So I can answer all my questions, but put yourself in the position of falsely accused people and understand why there's some hesitation in releasing the files. When I was accused, the first thing I said is release everything. I waive all my rights. I urge the FBI to criminally investigate me and prosecute me if they found anything. Of course, they didn't. But not everybody can say that. And so we have to go back to the presumption of innocence and reject this notion of guilt by accusation. That helps to explain why innocent people don't want the files released.
I understand, but it doesn't explain three things. First, it doesn't explain why Trump doesn't want to release things. I'm not saying he's not innocent. I'm saying if he is innocent, which he keeps saying, if he thinks it's about Clinton or Larry Summers or anybody else, he should be saying the same thing. Release the files. And he isn't. And the only excuse I'm offered is, well, he's worried about people getting smeared. I find that hard to believe, Alan. I don't think he's Alan Dershowitz. I don't understand why he won't release the files. Do you?
No, I don't accept that he's concerned, maybe, that although he didn't do anything wrong, and by the way, Brad Edwards, the very aggressive lawyer for the victims, said, I've investigated everything, and Trump did nothing wrong. And in fact, nobody prominent is accused. Only people you already know about. So there's really nothing in the files. Now, I've read many of the files. I've read the files in my case. We had days and days of depositions. They're all sealed, not by the Justice Department, but by judges who want to protect the alleged accusers, the accusers. And I've seen the names of the accusers and the accused. Give you an example. There's a woman named Sarah Ransom who accused Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton, Donald Trump, Richard Branson, said she had videotapes of them all having sex with young boys and girls. All right, that's the accusation that's out there. But the files prove that she made up the whole story, and she ultimately admitted that she made it all up in order to have something over Donald Trump. So what you can't do is release the accusations without releasing material that also may challenge the credibility.
So release all of it. So release all of it. Let the media do its job. Look, my problem here, that has nothing to do with the law, is this has been such a hype vehicle. First for the right. Let's not forget. Democrats didn't start this fire. They've just been blowing on it and turbocharging it and adding more wood. The right started this.
Yeah.
especially on the podcast. J.D. Vance, Kash Patel, Bongino, it's Clinton, it's this, it's that. That's why MAGA wanted this. This is why Trump allowed it. Hoisted on his own petard? Maybe. But I don't get why he's not saying release it. One other thing, Professor, I want to make sure I do not want you to get the Megyn Kelly scarlet letter, which I don't even think she believes, as unfair as she's been to me. I don't think she's in any way forgiving of pedophiles. When you say Epstein pleaded guilty to just one thing, he's being falsely accused, this guy was a scumbag, and we both know it. This guy was into kiddie porn, young women. He was a dog, and we both know it.
No question about that. But let your people on this station get it right. Don't call him a convicted pedophile. First of all, he's not a pedophile. Pedophiles are people who go after prepubescent women. He's very bad. He went after a 17-and-a-half-year-old and paid her to have sex. That's very bad. But it's not being a convicted pedophile. And the other thing is you get other people who may be completely innocent. And the names, they were on his plane. Of course they were on his plane. All the lawyers were on his plane. People who went and did charitable things were on his plane. But the idea, if he's on the plane or if he went to the island.
No, that I'm with you. But just because he only pled guilty to one thing, this guy had tons of young girls. I don't know how young, but the 10,000 videos, 14 years of age, this guy's an ephebophile, even if he's not a pedophile, and that puts him in the scumbag category.
Use the word convicted. He was charged with.
But that's you as a lawyer. You as a lawyer. In the court of public opinion, Alan, I'm with you. Legally, if I'm in your class, I fail if I say convicted pedophile. I get it. But in reality, in the moral court, this guy is a scumbag and went after young girls gratuitously.
No doubt. There's no doubt about that.
Okay.
And he ought to be condemned. And anybody who did that should be condemned. But just because somebody knew him before he was ever charged.
I agree.
Good people. But there were people who also.
I agree.
After he was charged.
I'm with you. But we're at a point now, Alan. Not everybody is you, not in terms of your standards and not in terms of your ability to absent yourself from allegations. Yeah. However, it's been so hyped by the right, so hyped by the left. Trust is so low, they have to release the files, and hopefully, and I'll be responsible when they do. But I got to jump, and I have to thank you for joining me on Shabbos.
Shh, don't tell my rabbi, and then we'll be okay. And how much do
it's
I
lucky for you, nobody's watching.
How much do I have to contribute to
Listen, if you give me $100,000, I'll shave it tomorrow.
All right, I'll think about that.
All right, Professor, thank you very much. I appreciate you.
My pleasure. Thanks, as always.
And the professor has a lot of books. His latest is entitled The Preventative State. And once again, a very pithy look at where we are and why. 4 minutes and 35 seconds. The Democrats in Congress are going to force this vote next week to have the files released. That will not get the files released, okay? My question for Democrats is, why does this matter to you so much? Why now? And why don't you see that your real path to victory is affordability? And don't tell me you can do two things at once. I've got a great progressive Democrat, MeidasTouch collaborator, Adam Mockler. Look him up in the break. This guy is young, but his audience is deep. Podcaster Adam Mockler has like as many people taken in his content as he does years on this earth. He's got like 23 million, tens and tens of millions of people have watched his podcasts and his clips. And this young man, I really enjoy talking to. And now he's doing a lot of work with the MeidasTouch podcast as well, which is growing and growing. But you keep ducking my texts, Mockler, and don't think you're going to get away. Eventually, I'll get you. You understand? You can duck my text, you can ghost me, but eventually I'm going to get you. You got me?
I've been working out, Chris. I've been working out. Next time I see you in New York, we can bench. We can see who can bench more, and I might beat you. I might be able to bench more.
First of all, I ate stuff for lunch today that is bigger than you, but that is not the point. You have big ideas. Let's discuss them. So, Adam, help me understand the Epstein thing. The guy's a scumbag. You saw how I even just had to make sure that was very clear, even with Professor Dershowitz. I don't care what he pleaded guilty to. The guy's a scumbag, and anybody who was around him who knew that should be outed. My criticism of the Democrats is, why didn't you release them during Biden? What is this newfound urgency? Is it just to hurt Trump?
Yeah, first of all, the newfound urgency is because of Trump's insane actions surrounding the files. It seems like Trump is using the federal power to protect not only the people in these files, but now he's targeting people selectively that he thinks might be in the files. But number one, the investigation was still partially ongoing under Biden. And to Prince Andrews, that investigation was only just recently dropped. Secondly, Biden's admin wasn't so openly just playing defense. There's a few key things that have happened that people are forgetting. Remember, the Trump FBI edited out 1 minute of Epstein's cell footage and then had no answer for that. Trump moved Ghislaine Maxwell to a low-security prison and gave her special privileges. Trump's name was mentioned thousands of times. I just think the circumstances surrounding this are way different than anything under Biden's term, when a lot of the investigation was still ongoing. And one more thing, Biden wasn't weaponizing his DOJ in the same way that Trump is. Trump is openly sending letters to Pam Bondi saying, yo, Pam Bondi, you should go after this person, investigate this person. This person might be guilty. Biden never did that with Merrick Garland, so I just think it's different.
Well, he certainly didn't do it the same way. Two things. One, you're right, people forget. This was also going on during the first Trump administration, okay? And there were Democrats who had urgency during the first Trump administration that then didn't have the same urgency during the Biden administration. And the second thing is that, yes, I understand the point of what has changed, but where do you expect this to go?
I just want full transparency. As an American citizen, I find it quite scary when the president seems to be using the institutions around him to protect some elites who seem to be pedophiles. I mean, Alan Dershowitz before was drawing the distinction between people who liked 17-year-olds versus 14-year-olds versus 9-year-olds. The woman, now she's a woman, like in present day, but she was talking about it. She was 14 years old. She was a girl when her parents came and talked to Jeffrey Epstein. So it's just, it's all definitely disgusting. I think what I want from this is a bit more transparency. I think that this
release the files.
The lack of transparency can be seen all across the administration. Like, remember, we haven't seen economic numbers from the BLS in 2 to 3 months now.
I agree.
Now, this lack of transparency can be seen everywhere. Like, they don't release the economic numbers. They don't release the files. Over and over, we just see a lack of transparency regarding crypto, regarding other transactions with Trump. It's weird.
I'm with you. I'm telling you. But I just feel like all that matters more. Okay, even the hiding of the statistics, the hiding of ICE statistics, and they keep quoting things that they won't release to everybody else in real time. I care about that more than this. I think this is a boogeyman. I think this is a boogeyman. And you can't convince me that with all the stuff that Democrats looked at and scrubbed and tried with to go after Trump, they had all of this important material in the Epstein files and just didn't use it.
Well,
it just doesn't make any sense to me that Ghislaine Maxwell has never come out and dropped a dime. She got sent to a lesser security prison, a better prison. That's what happens when you ask somebody who's in prison to do something, like talk to an investigator. They ask for something back. Her attorneys say it's not as cush as it's being made out to, but I'm still with you. Release all the files. I just don't get that energy right now when these other things matter more than Epstein's files.
Well, listen, this is a boogeyman that clearly resonates with tens of millions of Americans because they're sick of powerful people, powerful men in particular, abusing these power imbalances that exist within the structure to then benefit themselves, to hide stuff for themselves, and to let Jeffrey Epstein or the people in his immediate circle get away. Now, Donald Trump throughout his entire life has abused power imbalances whenever he got the chance, whether it's him walking into dressing rooms of beauty pageants that he owns, whether it's him grabbing women because they let him do it. And now that he has the the ultimate power as the president of the United States, millions of Americans are like, we're sick of this. We're sick of watching the president cover stuff up when just 10 years ago, Jeffrey Epstein was emailing with Michael Wolff saying that they had leverage over Trump. They were essentially emailing about the leverage they could potentially have over Trump. Well,
right, I'm with you.
What's
But
out
Adam, look, Epstein is the last guy we should be believing, okay? And Michael Wolff can explain it any way he wants. But this guy's a dirtbag, okay? So I don't know that I necessarily believe anything that Epstein was saying because he was a rapacious liar and victimizer. But I'm with you about your critiques and why people want it. Let's remember, it started on the right. And when they believed that they were all lefties, everybody wanted it to come out. Everybody thought that Clintons killed Jeffrey Epstein. I'm with you. But here's my thing. And I see this on affordability also. That's what people are really pissed off about. You guys have high ground on it for now. Trump is going to start running around the country saying it's his issue. And let me be honest, he's a better salesman than you guys. But why not focus there on affordability? And don't say we'll do two things at once. You know we can't. Okay,
It's not
you
that.
know it doesn't
I mean,
happen.
You want a real raw strategy answer? It's that Donald Trump has spent the past 24 hours melting down about Jeffrey Epstein on Truth Social, trying to defend himself for whatever, God knows what reason. You can intuit what reason, but he's melting down on Truth Social rather than focusing on affordability. And like I just said, you can use this lack of transparency on Epstein as a framework to see his lack of transparency on affordability, on the releasing of economic numbers. I think that just thinking that Democrats should ditch the Epstein issue, I don't know what the strategy would be there. The Epstein issue is important to millions of Americans, and it reveals how much of a sick MFer Donald Trump is, how he will use these institutions to protect himself, use them to enrich himself. He's talking more about the ballroom than he is affordability, more about the ballroom than he is Epstein. And like, I don't get your issue with us talking about two things at once. Trump talked about the border wall, the economy, and a few other things. We can talk about his cruelty, the economy.
Here's why, Adam. Here's why. He talked about them because that's his deal. It's not about doing anything, right? He talks about them. And he's a great salesman. That's the con man is about confidence and the ability to sell. I don't believe you guys could do two things at once. I don't. I've never seen the Democrats execute any kind of strategy, let alone a dual one. I'm saying you have the right issue right now. I think the shutdown was the wrong way to do it. But right now, people in America, at least until the Epstein stuff, which you guys brought back up, right? When you had the opportunity to say, hey, so what's your plan, MAGA, for bringing down costs? If you say we're making it up about the subsidies and reimbursements and how to get costs down, what's your plan? They don't have one.
The good thing is,
jump on that.
Affordability will likely come back to the forefront because the ACA subsidies are still set to expire next month. I believe they expire.
Yeah,
I have a friend whose mom didn't even know she was reliant on these subsidies until the entire shutdown debacle happened. Then she realized, wait a minute, I'm reliant on these subsidies. Now she's hyper-focusing on what's happening. And she was apolitical before, too. So now she's watching, and it's going to be pretty clear which party shoots down the extension to the ACA subsidies and which party is fighting for lower premiums. So we could still pivot to this affordability issue. But, dude, Trump is squirming. Let us put Trump into a corner. He's squirming right now. Do you see his True Social posts? This dude is squirming.
Yes, I see him. I see him. It's only a matter of time before they're about me, by the way. So, you know, I get it. I get the dynamic. I'm just saying the midterms are going to be about who connects to the majority, and affordability is the issue. And to me, it's just every moment spent on something other than that is a moment potentially wasted. But I'll tell you what's never wasted. Moments talking to you. You're smart, you're with it, you're connected, and I appreciate you. Adam Mockler, if I don't get to talk to you before, have a great Thanksgiving. I'm thankful for having you within my circle of existence.
We'll chat soon. I'll text you back.
All right, bud. Be well. Yeah, you ghost me, man. You ghost me. That's how you kids say it, right? I'll talk to you soon, Adam. Thank you. 4 minutes and 30 seconds. Tens of millions of people are like me. Here's one way that I'm actually like a lot of people. All right? I believe in hemp products. CBD, absolutely. I took one today because I hurt my back training. And it helped me in a way that I used to take Aleve or Advil for. And the THC drinks, the gummies. A lot of us use them medicinally. A lot of them use them because we like them. Why should they be taken from us to help booze? Why was it sneaked in by McConnell? I want you to talk to somebody who understands how big a deal this is. I know this is trending, but this should matter so much more. This is so wrong on so many levels, okay? What Mitch McConnell just did to hemp-derived products, THC, CBD, gummies, drinks, creams, tinctures, oils, it's going to affect millions of people. Forget about the commerce. Forget about, the billions of dollars and the thousands and thousands of jobs and the money and taxes. So many of us use this instead of harsher, stronger, less safe medicines and means. And why? Because he wanted to help his buddies who sell booze in Kentucky. This is a travesty. Do you understand? And bravo to Senator Rand Paul for bringing it up at the end of the shutdown, trying to do the right thing. He did not get it done there, but I will certainly platform his cause. Why? Let's talk about it with someone who knows, okay? I want to introduce you to Jim Higdon, co-founder of Cornbread Hemp. All right, let's do it Socratically, okay, Jim? Look, I'm with you, all right? I use hemp products. I used it today to help me with being an idiot, how I was training with the firefighters the other night, and I hurt my neck and my back. I took some CBD, and it helped me in a way that Advil or Aleve usually didn't unless I really scarfed it down all day. But let's do it Socratic. You should be regulated the same way as marijuana. You got a loophole, and you are making fancy drugs to get people high. Kids are using it, and you should be treated the same way they are.
A lot there to unpack, Chris. Thanks for having me. First of all, the plain language of the law of the 2018 Farm Bill allows for THC below 0.3%, and we've been following the precise letter of that law for the products we make here at Cornbread Hemp. All of our products are below 0.3 Delta 9 THC by weight by the letter of the law. We weren't exploiting any loophole. We were following the letter of the law written in part by Mitch McConnell in the 2018 Farm Bill. So to be accused of exploiting a loophole for the punishment that we received from Mitch McConnell in this last shutdown vote really adds insult to injury, because that's not what we have been doing. We've been following the exact letter of the law.
All right, so then he says, then fine. He says, then fine, Mr. Higdon. Then you'll be fine with these regulations that I'm putting in. These percentages, that's where you're at anyway. No harm, no foul. See ya.
Well, the new percentages, the new cap on THC that Mitch McConnell has put into this bill that will become law in 364 days, right? 0.4 milligrams per package, right? Less than half a milligram per package. And that will make all hemp products Schedule I narcotics in less than a year.
Now, here's the question. So what? Who needs this stuff?
Well, I mean, you've answered this yourself. Millions of Americans, particularly older Americans, turn to hemp products for pain, anxiety, and sleep issues, which are problems that affect us all, especially as we age. And, our 60% of our gummy customers are over the age of 65. So this myth that all hemp companies had to go out of business to protect the children in the convenience stores doesn't match with the data that we see with our customers, because all of our customers are older adults.
Why do you think he did this?
Because the bourbon industry hates the popularity of hemp beverages. And because of hemp beverages and the popularity of hemp beverages, bourbon companies want us dead. And Mitch McConnell did what they wanted.
Even though he was the guy who put hemp into the 2018 Farm Bill?
Look, the bourbon distilling industry has a 95-year head start on how to play politics in Kentucky. We were new on the scene. We became popular. We felt really great about ourselves, and we just got smacked down really hard with people who had been waiting for 4 generations to do something just like this.
What do you think happens next?
What happens next is we have 364 days to fix it. And we finally have the attention of leaders in Congress who realize, hey, this wasn't something that maybe we should have done. People are paying attention.
They thought this was Rand Paul running his mouth and trying to be relevant and hold up a process, and they were dead wrong. Rand Paul was right about this, and you will have a platform wherever I am to discuss what's happening with this whenever you want. You understand?
Really appreciate that. Thank you. I mean, we have a lot of work to do in the next year, and it's going to take everyone, all hands on deck, who believe in this product to find ways to leverage the deadline that we have to get something done for not just for the millions of Americans who use these products, but for the farmers who are making it. The things that we have heard, people have been reaching out to us over the last few days, not just consumers and customers, but farmers from all across Kentucky telling us how much hemp means to them, to their farms, and they're going to lose farms. Farmers are going to lose farms over this. Like, we've heard too much to stop now. We're going to go to, I'm in DC next week. We're going to figure this out.
Jim, I appreciate it, and all it's going to cost you is just a few six-packs of that drink you just held up. No, I'm kidding.
Got it.
Thank you very much for coming on, because whether it's older people, military, people dealing with physical, psychological, emotional issues, so many people turned out, don't you tempt me like that. So many people turn to this as a medicinal instead of much harder drugs. I wish you well. This is a righteous fight, and I'm here for it. Take care, sir.
Thank you,
4
Chris.
minutes and 15 seconds. Up next, here is also a very righteous issue. I told you that the investigations into sports betting were just starting. They're going to go from league to league, professional and college, and the through line is the mob, okay? This is one of the best things that has ever happened to them. Not illegal, illicit industries, the legal online sports betting. Why believe me? I'm going to bring in somebody who lived the life. He was a capo, as they say, and he will tell you why these are the halcyon days for people you thought were gone. Okay, sports betting is huge, and it is overrun with bad deeds, and the cases are going to keep coming. Most recently, 14 people were charged with running an illegal online sports betting ring that made $2 million over 2 years. It's going to be all sports, all levels that could be discovered, and there will be one common thread. Gangsters you thought were gone. In the most recent case, we heard about the Lucchese's, Joseph Little Joe Perna. He was the money. His son ran the day-to-day. Let me bring in somebody who lived the life and now wants to explain what so many seem, shocked by. His name is Dominic Cicali. He hosts the podcast Mafia Roundtable. It's good to have you back. Thank you for helping me.
Thank you for having me, Chris. I appreciate it.
So, what do you say to people who are like, wow, the mob, huh? That must be like the last dregs, because they're done.
The mafia is never done. They'll always evolve, always transition as times go on. They change. Now listen, I was doing it back in my day with the colleges. These kids, and it's that much easier nowadays. You have the NBA, NFL, Major League Baseball. They're all advertising for these online sports betting organizations. So now it gives these kids opportunities to make money, to generate something that's really easy for them. And it's just going to keep on evolving, keep on moving forward. And this is just the beginning of it, Chris. Pandora's box is just being opened up.
That's a good metaphor. So, look, the counterintuitive notion is, but wait a minute. If you can do it online, legally, easily, what do you need the mob for?
Well, the difference is the mob will give them credit. These younger kids, the generation that's coming up, it's easy with these colleges because I could go to a college kid and tell them, you want to make some easy money? You see that it's basically legal. That's the way I would sell it to them. And recruit 10 guys and just say they have 10 guys, they put bets in for the weekend. And out of the 10 guys, they wind up losing $10,000. I have these kids on a half sheet, so they get 50%. So on the $10,000, they're making $5,000. Mm-hmm. So now I tell them, why don't you recruit some more kids? You give them 20%. where now they're earning 30%, and it just snowballs and butterflies. And the nice part, the selling part to these kids are,
Go ahead.
if your group wins and I have to pay out 10,000, don't worry, you're in the red, I'll lay it out. And then as the weeks go on, when you do win, eventually that 10,000 will get paid off, and then you make your money. So really, it's I'll take all the risk, but eventually, as you well know, the house always wins.
Always. I have a source that says nothing has ever been better for the families in the mafia in America than this. That this has been like the fountain of youth for their finances. How big do you think that this will get from an investigation?
Oh, this is going to be massive. This is going to be massive, especially with the corruption with these players. Wait till you get into all these college players that have been throwing games and underperforming just for these bets to edge them off.
So, Dominic, as they expose more and more of the threads that go in to the life, I would love to keep calling on you so you can explain to people what we're learning about and what it means. So thank you for being with me.
No, it would be my pleasure, Chris. Thank you for having me, and have a happy Thanksgiving, you and your family.
You too. I'm thankful for knowing you. Dominic Cicale, all the best. All right, we'll be right back. No better way to settle into Friday than getting perspective from Leland Vittert right now.
And here we begin the settling. Chris, have a great weekend.